Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachael for this Thursday, the 6th of May. Another gorgeous day, another day further from my first vaccination, so I'm starting to feel a bit better, not so much sore as I was. Dude is corked out at my feet, and he's going to have us start snoring in a minute, so please ignore him. This morning, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about an idea that I just read this morning um, about greed in prayer or spiritual disciplines. That seems kind of an odd thing to say. How can we be greedy if we are praying or if we are exercising a spiritual discipline? And now, obviously, we can be greedy in prayer if we only ever turn to God in prayer and ask for things for ourselves. If we only think about our own situations and things like that, that's a greediness in prayer. Depending on where we are in our prayer life or in our spiritual journey, I think God's probably pretty forgiving of that. Always, of course, encouraging us to grow beyond that. But that's not the kind of greed I'm talking about. I'm talking about that sense that when we really engage in our spiritual journey and we plow right in and we start to get excited about it, that sometimes in our excitement, we get moving so fast that we forget the point of what we were doing. Have you ever been so excited about going on a trip that you plan everything, you're so excited, and you get in the car or you get in your motorhome or you get on the plane or whatever you're going to do, and you get going, and you just all you think about is the next thing. So um, I'll use an example. When Rob finished his deployment, his 8-month deployment overseas for Op Artemis in 2013 and 14, we planned a trip to Edinburgh, Scotland, for just the two of us for a week when he got back. We went in June and he got back in late February. And we worked hard. We booked our flights, we got a hotel, we figured out what we were going to do, and we got going, we got on the plane, and everything we did, we thought about the next thing. What are we going to do next? What are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to do? Until we're getting back on the plane to come home, and it was like, oh, okay, we had a great week, but it's over. And in retrospect, we had lots to think about. Then I had the blessing of 2 years later, my dad took one of my sisters and I with him back to Scotland as sort of he was trying to find, he'd been doing hereditary work and genealogy and found cousins of ours, and we went over there to see him. And so having the opportunity to go back and knowing what I'd already seen and knowing I'd see some of the same things allowed me to slow down and to be present to our trip, to take time to watch what we were doing, to absorb where we were. We went to some of the same tourist attractions, the chapel at Roslyn and things like that. And I was able to help my mom or help my dad and my sister sort of to be present to where we were because I'd already been there and I could anticipate that they maybe were doing the same thing I had done before. But we don't always get a chance to go back and redo our journey, to take parts of our faith journey again. And so it's important that we not get so excited about being in it or on that journey that we bypass all of the goodness. I was reading this morning in Henry Nouwen's Discernment book a passage in which he quotes Jean-Pierre de Caussade, who is in his 18th century letters to those for whom he served as spiritual director, provided specific instructions on how to read a book spiritually. So this chapter in this book is called Read the Way Forward, and it's talking about the importance of spiritual reading, of part of our discernment process. 1 second. Jude, lay down. There we go. Okay, so hopefully the snuffling is going to stop. Okay, he says, if you are to get from it, meaning all the reading, all the good I anticipate, you must not throw yourself greedily upon it, or let yourself be drawn on by curiosity as to what comes next. Fix your attention upon what you are reading without thinking about what follows. Pause briefly from time to time to let these pleasant truths sink deeper and deeper into your soul, and allow the Holy Spirit time to work. Simply let the truths sink into your heart rather than into your mind. that spoke to me this morning because, as you may know, for the last long time, for the last while, I have been spending time every morning. It used to just be 5 minutes, and now I've upped it to 10. Our days need to be longer. I need a couple of hours more in our day. 26, 27 would work for me. If I could have those, 3, 4 more hours in the morning before anybody gets up without having to give up sleep, that would be fantastic because I love that quiet time with God. But I've been spending time taking maybe now 10 minutes, just closing my eyes and saying, "Good morning, Jesus, and welcome to my day." And then I just in my mind's eye, and I depending on where how you believe in things, I think that this is happening. I think this is not just some kind of an imagination. I do believe that Jesus comes to me and we sit together, and we're sitting on a park bench in what is not but is. You know how that is in dreams and things like that. A park bench along a pathway in front of the river, the Avon River in Stratford, Ontario. There's a house across the river that isn't in Stratford. I know in my soul, in my place of knowing, that we are in Stratford, which was where my first church was when I was ordained 22 years ago almost. And we sit on a park bench and we watch the swans on the river, or sometimes we go for a walk, and other times Jesus will take me places, like last week when he took me into an ICU. And this week we went for sort of a field trip, and we saw some burnt out woods where a forest fire had been, and see the new life that is only able to grow when the old has gone. The forest fire eliminated the old growth but allowed room for the new growth, which I'm still pondering. I also got a trip to a house that looked beautiful on the outside, but when we looked closer, the foundations were crumbling, and the work needed to be done not on what people could see, but on what people couldn't see. So don't know yet what God's telling me there, but so every morning I sit with Jesus on this bench, or he takes me on little field trips. But I found today and yesterday it was very difficult to sort of focus. I kept trying to, say, sort of guide the process. Okay, Jesus, where are we going today, or what are we going to talk about, or what are we going to do? And it was a little frustrating because I realized my own imagination was taking over, and Jesus, God bless him. I can't believe I just said that. Jesus, God bless him. Just sat there and let me go. And then I felt kind of guilty because I had this 10 minutes that I could spend with Jesus in peace and quiet, and just listen to what he might have to say about my life, or my discernment process of the things I am praying about lately. And I wasted it. And then I realized, no, I didn't waste it. It was, for whatever reason, my brain was in hyperactivity today and I couldn't pay attention. But time spent with Jesus, even if you're distracted, is never wasted time. So, but I think what was happening was this whole idea that he's saying is, you must not throw yourself greedily upon your reading or sitting with Jesus, or let yourself be drawn on by curiosity as to what comes next. I think that's what's happening, because I am praying and I'm considering and discerning my life, my vocation, my family, my parish, all of these things that during COVID have sort of come flooding to the foreground with no real ability to get going. It's kind of like you're walking on a treadmill, and still, instead of being able to get outside and walk to a destination, I'm doing all this walking, but I'm going nowhere. So that seems to be what COVID is for me, a treadmill. But at the same time, this COVID treadmill is allowing me the time to sit with Jesus, to pray, to consider, to discern things that I'd never discerned before, to really think about who will I be, and who will our parish be, and who will we be as a church post-pandemic. But I'm being invited to not speed ahead. And I think that's what I've been doing lately with my time with Jesus on the bench, is I've been so curious as to what might happen next, that I haven't allowed myself to honor the purpose of this time of discernment, which is to sit still, to listen for God's voice, listen for God's voice in reading, in nature, in all of the ways that God speaks to us, to not get ahead of myself and not anticipate what might come next, because God is showing with me here and sharing with me now what I need to know now. And part of that is I need to slow down. I need not to worry about what's going to happen in a week or 2 weeks or a month or a year. I need to be aware of God's presence right now. And so this morning, my speeding ahead, before I do that particular bit of meditation, before I do any daily office or reading, really sort of highlighted this for me, this whole fix your attention upon what you're reading or what you're meditating on or what you're doing without thinking about what follows. Discernment is not decision making. Discernment is about listening to what God is calling us to do. What is God speaking to you in this moment, so that you will have what you need later to make those decisions. But the decision making will come when God determines it's the right time for it. And right now, in COVID, there's not much we can decide about because we don't know what's going to happen next. So I'm going through a lot of stuff in my head and in my heart. And part of that is God saying to me, slow down, appreciate this moment. Do not throw yourself greedily upon the moment, sitting with Jesus or whatever it might be, or let myself be drawn on by curiosity as to what might come next. I need to fix my attention upon what I'm reading, or when I'm sitting with Jesus, just being present to him, without thinking about what follows. Pause briefly from time to time to let these pleasant truths sink deeper and deeper into your soul, and allow the Holy Spirit time to work. Simply let the truths sink into your heart rather than into your mind. So I am convicted today that I am again living in my head instead of my heart. So I invite you to encourage me, and I invite you to encourage yourself to allow God to live in your heart. Don't think so much. Pray more and feel more today. I pray that you will have a good day. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Our numbers are not going down yet. They will with time. But in the meantime, let's not rush through right now. Let's not plow through Edinburgh because we don't know if we're coming back. Let's simply be here and appreciate Edinburgh right now. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and thank you for being with me. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your prayers and your comments and your presence. Have a great day. Be safe. Stay home, and we will be back tomorrow to talk about whatever it is the Spirit calls us to talk about. God bless.